Alright, pet industry, here's some taglines for dogs to help with sales. You're welcome. Dogs. Man's best friend, because they have to be to get food. Dogs. For when you want to know how poop feels through plastic every day. Dogs. A great indication there's pee on your floor somewhere. Dogs. Some of your friends are scared of them, and you see them less now. Dogs. Sometimes they bite. Dogs. They smell worse to your guests than you think, because your acclimated nose can't detect it anymore. Dogs. When you want a very loud, innocent passers-by deterrent. Dogs. When you want a very loud, nothing deterrent. Especially when I'm making video. Dogs. They lick themselves. WheezyNews! Jang, jing, badonka-donk, boom. In the comments, Self-Adored Doily writes that the summer is probably the worst time for my Biphasic sleep experiment. Days are longer, nights are shorter. It'd be weird if days were longer and nights were longer. What would that mean? What would happen if the Earth stopped spinning? The bulging waters of the oceans would begin to move away from the equator towards the pole. The oceans would flood most of Earth, leaving one giant mega continent around the middle of the planet. That doesn't sound so bad. So we wouldn't have to sail. I mean, the transition would be a bit rough. The atmosphere would lead to air being thicker at the poles and thinner at the equator. There would exist only 4 spots around the mid-latitudes where humans could survive. Okay, so we'd be closer together, less driving. There would be earthquakes where there had never been earthquakes before, and enhanced volcanism, not volcanism. The magnetic field would disappear, leaving us unprotected against the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation and deadly solar winds. That seems like a bigger problem. Each day and night would last 6 months, which would result in extreme temperatures. Weather would become extremely predictable. Al Roker would be out of a job. There'd be massive storms on the sunny side of the planet. Great. Most humans would not survive, but some would. Yay! Many animals would go extinct. Some would flourish. Yay! See, it'd be fun. Everything's good. And bad. And actually, Earth's rotation is going to stop one day, but not for billions and billions of years. Yay! So it's basically the same as all of our problems right now. Ignore them for future generations to worry about. Yay! The point is, summer is not the best time to do the Biphasic sleep experiment, and also, it's just not working out, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do something else. If you want more of an explanation, check the previous video. Maybe I'll revisit it in the winter. But also, Serpentax brought up something. Delayed sleep syndrome. He talks about how he noticed it when he went to university. Forced himself to acclimate, much like our noses acclimate to stinky dogs. But then during the pandemic, reverted back to a 26-hour sleep cycle. I popped to Google to see if this was a thing, and I found this article from Stanford. And as I read it, it was as if I was reading my own diary. Dear Craig, you always fall asleep when it's very late, and you wake up tired because your body is not producing signals for you to be alert yet. This article is describing you. I am you. I don't know if this is what's really going on, but my whole life I've always been the last person to fall asleep at a sleepover. I always felt like I was more tired and more affected by sleepiness than those around me. It does seem to fit, but correlation is not causation. I'm not sure. But lately during this Biphasic sleep experiment failure, my mindset is shifting more towards just living with the way that I sleep and trying to mitigate the fallout. I am going to do a sleep study though, but in the meantime, I'm probably just going to try to not worry about it so much. But I have been talking about it ad nauseum on this channel, so yay! Yay! In other news, all this week and last week, China and I have been shooting episodes of Movie Buff, the series we're doing on the AMC YouTube channel. We watch classic movies, make exercise routines, and do the exercise routines. We have finished shooting 13 episodes. The 4th one, Silence of the Lambs, goes up today or yesterday or 2 days ago, depending on when I upload this, Friday. Point is, it's up now for you to watch. I think they're good fun. I'm proud of the work we did. Here's an example of some of the work we did for a future episode. For those who couldn't tell, that movie was obviously The Hurt Locker. So go on over and check it out. I mean, there's not a lot of things to watch in the world these days, so I'm just trying to provide more for you to watch because we're really starving for media. And now I just shot all the footage for this video up to this point. I'm going to take the card out, put it in the computer, edit, and maybe I will return later today to shoot more. Or maybe another day. You live, you learn, as Alanis Morissette says. I said the magic words. You know what that means. It's time to play a lipless Morissette when you sing Alanis Morissette without moving your lips. You live, you learn, you learn, you learn. That's not the first time I've sang Alanis Morissette for you on video. You're welcome. It has been 2 days. You can tell because I have a different shirt on. Visual indication. Visual indication. Confirming what I hear by what I see. Despite the possibility of editing trickery. Oh, shake it up. It's like bad medicine. I always go into that. Why is it always Bon Jovi with me? Well, that's Bon Jovi your business. That doesn't make any sense. Why has it been 2 days? Well, I just felt like being a dad the past few days. I did do the editing, which took a little while. A lot of text stuff at that whole dog sequence. And the what happens when the earth stops spinning was much more visually elaborate than I would have liked, but my boss, me, made me do it. Alanis Morissette stuff's very annoying and also kind of sounded more like Cher. But overall, it's a pretty good video. I'm probably spending far too much time on this video since I have a main channel video that I have to get done in a few days that's about writing a song every day. But I'm having more fun doing this video, which is tied to no obligations or expectations, so I can do what I want. I could probably still do that on the main channel too, and maybe someday I will, but right now this feels like the place. Why am I always analyzing and trying to justify the existence of these videos and make meta jokes about them while I'm doing them? I think I tend to do that when I don't have 100% understanding of the purpose of the thing that I'm making. While I make these videos about my life, I'm constantly figuring out what they're going to be. So my life is me figuring out what these videos are going to be. So it's naturally going to be meta. And I think a big part of me does not want these videos to be one thing. I don't want to just talk about movies or music, books I've read, gaming, life advice, technical how-to videos, or product. But I do, on occasion, want to do all of those things. Or none of them and just do nonsense. Seems like my favorite thing to do is to just talk about what it is we're doing here. I'm as confused about the purpose of me on YouTube as I was when I started. It's the same rabbit hole you go down when you question the reason for existence at all, which is why I will now give you the top 5 reasons to exist. 1, futz with stuff. 2, diddle around. I didn't realize that was gonna have a sexual connotation when I said it, and maybe you didn't either until I just said that. 3, pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stomping. See, because that's where the party's at, and you'll find out if you do that. A place to stay. 4, beat every Zelda game ever made, although I haven't beaten the ones between Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. Probably don't. Actually, you don't need to. 5, just don't be an asshole. And now I'd like to talk to you about stuff I'm into lately. Latey? Good day, latey! And now I'd like to talk to you about stuff I'm into lately. The game Dead Cells, I mentioned it before, but I've been playing it more now, and I really, really like it. You die and start all the way at the beginning every time. And then the levels are a little bit different each time, and there's tiny ways to build your character here and there, but not much. I like it because when I die, I get so frustrated that I stop playing, and then I'm not addicted and getting sucked in for too long. But yet, each time you play, you get different weapons, and it feels like a different, fun, new, fresh game. But at the same time, you feel like you're getting better and improving and getting familiar with it. The excitement of newness and the pleasure of self-improvement at the same time. It's like if someone swapped out your underwear with cleaner, better-fitting underwear every half hour. Speaking of, clone. Thank you. The Steven Soderbergh movie No Sudden Move. I mentioned that before I saw it, but I have seen it, and I really, really like it. A crime movie starring my favorite actor name to say, Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, Ray Liotta, which is hard to make sound like 2 separate names, Ray Liotta, Amy Seimetz, which I'm not even sure if I'm saying correctly, John Hamm, whose name doesn't really remind you of anything at all, right? Food-based or otherwise. Kieran Culkin, who I will never see without thinking of Macaulay, even though he seems to have a longer career. And Sheriff Guy from Stranger Things, his official name. 1950s Detroit, really fast-moving, funny, suspenseful crime movie. It's good. Maybe a bit too much fisheye lens, but I'm not really going to talk about that. Dune. I've started listening to it while I rune, as well as reading it while I'm at home. I've seen the David Lynch movie a long time ago, but that didn't make any sense. Excited for the upcoming Denis Villeneuve movie. And the book is pretty interesting. A little boring, but pretty interesting. And I'm super into Joe Beretta's tweet a few days ago about wanting to cast the US version of the British show Taskmaster. Taskmaster is a great British panel show. Everyone should watch it. They did try a US version a little while ago, and everyone says it's not very good. I didn't see it. But Joe Beretta wants to try again, and he said, I will cast it. And the host and creator, Alex Horn, actually kind of assistant host to Greg Davis, but creator. Side note, Greg Davis, when you see him in something other than Taskmaster, he's so much more genuine and vulnerable and like a completely different person than the asshole he plays as host of Taskmaster, which makes me like him more. But Alex Horn responded and said they should keep in touch. Whoa, could this actually happen? Joe, cast that show. And I'm not saying you have to put me on it or anything, but you know, and I really enjoyed this TikTok from a guy in Uzbekistan accompanying a cat drinking milk, tweeted by the Needle Drop. Now there's a modern sentence right there that I just said. Twitter was open and Ada was in the room and she's like, why is there a cat there? So then I played it. I wasn't going to play it. So glad I did. Changed my life in a very, very minor way, but in the positive. I think we might be done here. It's hard to know when you're done. I think because, you know, there's no structure or form or reason for this. But I think we're done here. Yeah, check out, what should you check out? My Patreon? You can support me on Patreon. A new main channel video will come out on Friday about the songwriting every day that I did on this channel. You can check out all the songs that I did in April. The bidet video on the main channel. I know some of you haven't watched it. Go on, I'm really trying to counteract this media drought we've been in. And that's about it. I'm having fun doing these videos, and I hope you're having fun playing them in the background as you polish your trinkets.